And so, yeah, this is it. So we have a nice transition. But now you're gonna tell me, like, this is still a problem, right? Yeah, it's still a problem, and we're gonna fix it. So, same issue here. We needed to create blend curves. Super easy. Once you've done this 3 times, it's gonna become really quick. And this is it. So this is how you get a super nice clean edge. Now, we also need a fillet here. So how do we do that? One way to do it would be you go back to your curve. Where is that curve? Let's do cell CRV. I'm selecting all of my curves, and I guess it's not here. Okay, so if you don't have a curve, that's fine, because we can do duplicate border. So duplicate border is going to give me the same edges I initially used. It's going to give them as curves. And now if I do a fillet edge, no, not a fillet edge, a fillet, regular fillet, and I'm going to set it to 0.5. Let's see what this does. Okay, it gives me that. So we want this to be just about half as much. So let's explode. Okay, explode, yeah. And let's make a fillet of 0.2. Okay, so now if I trim this surface using that curve, even in perspective, it doesn't matter because the curve is perfectly lining up with this flat plane. So it shouldn't create a problem. It should let me use that curve as a trimming tool. Okay, so now that I have a nice clean edge, I should be able to do a blend surface from this corner to this one. And it does, and because this is much smaller, it's going to be able to make a super nice surface. And so that's how you would resolve that. So whenever you have issues like this is how you would resolve it. Now up here you might have a bigger issue because your edge, the way it's cut, it's not going to line up perfectly. So this is the only time where I would suggest using a projection. So let me show you the process really quick. Yeah, this one is a little more complicated. And then I'm gonna just speed up the video and show you the final result. But essentially what we just did here is exactly what we're gonna do over and over again for all of these edges. And as you do it more and more, you'll see that it goes quicker and quicker. So it looks like it's very time consuming, but really I'm taking a long time explaining why I'm doing these things. But once you understand it and you're just following the same workflow, it actually goes relatively fast. So it is overwhelming at first because you're a little new to this concept, but once you've got it figured out, it's really not that difficult. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Let's say 200 units, so way out there, okay. And let's really focus on this. How do we get a nice edge to work with? First thing I would do is we're gonna delete that. Yeah, let's fix that. So if I just join this, there's a better way to do it. Let's delete this. I'm just gonna duplicate this single edge. Okay, delete this. Select this corner. And let's delete that. I'm just rebuilding this curve using this edge. And I'm just gonna make an array. Oh. I used the wrong feature. There's an array and an array polar. The one I wanted was array polar. before, and we just recreated the outline of that surface. Now, one thing to look for is because I rounded off this edge, now I didn't round the other side, so I need to go in and trim whatever goes beyond this fillet. Okay, I take it back. We have to do it the slow and painful way. Okay. So we'll have to select these guys and trim it. So I guess something doesn't line up perfectly, therefore I would have to trim it manually. I have no idea why this is happening. Yeah, I can't really explain why this is happening. Maybe I moved something, maybe I wasn't creating an array from the center. Either way, there's always multiple ways to do the same thing, so this is one of them. It's a little more time consuming, but yeah, here we are now. Now we can join everything. It looks like it trimmed. I don't know why it's still not joining. Unable to join the curves. Strange. Really strange. Okay, so like I was just saying, there's multiple ways of doing the same thing. So here's another way. I'm gonna copy this. I'm just gonna make something flat. How do we make a flat surface? There's so many ways. This might be the quickest and easiest way. So here we can select 4 corners. And here we go, we have a flat surface. So I'm just gonna take this planar surface, this flat face, move it here, go to the side view, move it to where that curve was initially, and I don't want to use the snap to grid anymore. Intersect. So now we have this plane, but it's not large enough. So let's scale this plane so it's bigger. Okay, make it bigger than it needs to be, and then we can use this curve, and that's the reason why I moved it out of the way, so it's easier to select and easier to trim this flat face. So that's another way to get the same result. I don't know why these curves are not trimming properly, but that's one way to bypass this issue. Maybe there's something that doesn't line up perfectly, and sometimes it's about the tolerances. Either way, I don't really care. This fixes it. So let's move on. Let's blend some surfaces, and we can finally move on to no, really? Okay. So because these curves were joined but not joined all the way, it looked at this as a segment. So we have to explode everything. I really shouldn't complain because it's my mistake. I should know better. You need to explode your curve before you trim them if you want your edges to match your curve. So now if I try to do a blend surface, I'm gonna rebuild the same thing, it recognizes this edge. And that's perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. So why did I spend so much time doing this? That's because this is now a single edge, which means if I want to create a nice blend up here, let me show you more. It's a little hard to explain without showing it to you, but if I do a sweep 2 and I sweep this edge and this edge, and then the cross section is this one, here's what you get this mess. So it's really important to control this edge, and I don't want it to be a default edge. I want this to be very clean, and then I want to be able to project a curve to really control where it begins and where it ends, where my transitional surface begins and ends. So I'm making a random curve, and I don't really care where it goes, it's just this tool here, the interpolate curve, just 2 points. And by default, when you make this type of curve, you'll get a degree-free curve. You get 2 points here. So this is really useful, and that's what I did here, right? I clicked up here, made a curve from here to somewhere. I don't care where it goes. Press enter, and if you look at it, you've got a few points. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in match, and using the match command, I can match this random curve, which doesn't even go where I want it to go, but it doesn't matter. From this view, it's going to do the job. So you click on one edge, and then you click on your other edge. And what it's doing is it's creating tangency between this crappy curve, which doesn't make any sense. It's creating a nice tangency with the continuity of this edge. So now if I want to, I can select this and put it wherever I want. But so what's really critical is this 1 point, right? So if I go in and I match this curve to this edge to be curvature, what it's doing is it's matching 2 points to be nice and smooth with this edge. Now my third point, I couldn't care less where it's at. I could delete it, in fact. And now I have perfect continuity between this curve and this edge. So why is this important? That's because using this edge, keeping this edge continuous, I can now project this curve onto a surface. Enter. And now if you look in perspective, you can see you have this perfect projection of this curve. And because this curve is continuous, now you can simply do a blend curve. And so if you do a blend curve from your projected edge to this edge, now you get the exact edge you wanted for this transitional surface, so that you can choose where your surface begins and ends, and have total control of this curvature so that it stays the same. So it's probably really confusing, but as you do it more and more, you're going to get a better sense of how much control you can get and why you're doing it this way. It's just going to make more sense as you do it more and more. But the basic idea is here you have an edge and you want to tell your surface to stop up here. So the way you do that is using the sweep or the curve network, and you set up this cross section, and then you tell it the cross section begins here and then it ends there. And so now you've just told your surface where it should begin and where it should end, and you have complete control of whether it's tangent or curvature or whatever you want. In this case, we made this tangent, so we're going to use tangency everywhere. And so this is how you would do it. This is how you can quickly and easily control this transitional surface and have full control over this one using the pipe command. So, I mean, I'm showing you a lot, but when you break it down, it's actually very simple and very quick to achieve. And you'll see that. I'm just going to speed up the process really quickly, but the way to do it is instead of doing it one by one, curve after curve, projection after projection, you can just go in, use this one tool, and you just go in and you set up a curve, another curve, and they can be random like this, it doesn't matter, right? You do this for all of them. Okay, and once you're done with that, you just match everything at once. Match this to that. Use curvature, okay. Same exact thing, okay. Same exact thing, okay. Look at all of these curves. What's the problem with them? This point, I don't want it. This point, I don't want it. Done, that's it. So now we have a bunch of curves and they're nice and continuous with this edge. So the process seems really, really long, and it seems like it's not necessary to spend so much time just for a nice transitional surface. But it's actually really quick, right? You just set it up once, project this, that, and that once onto this one surface, and that's it. So it's really not that complicated. It's all about the workflow. You do this workflow, you make it streamlined, you know, you do everything you have to do at once. You don't do each one after the other. You do everything you can do within one function, one command. Just speed up the process by doing as many things as you can within one command. We don't need this anymore. So again, as I was saying, you can use the sweep 2, and I'm going to make all of the sweep one by one. So that's kind of an ideal workflow, right? You're selecting all of the contours you want to use, and then you build all of your surfaces you want to build, and that's it. You know, keep doing that. And as I said, I'm going to speed up the process because this is not that useful to you. I just want you to grasp the concept of it. Okay, in this case, this surface, it might not be perfectly symmetrical, so it's not trimming with, it's not trimming the way I expected it to. And so if you run into this issue, here's what I would suggest you do. You can go in and duplicate an edge, select the edge of your transitional surface, and trim this, trim this surface using this edge. And if you're not sure if it's smooth the way it should be, for example, if it wasn't symmetrical, there would be a gap in between these two surfaces. So to check, what I would do is join both of these surfaces, and it does not join. Okay, so what that means is my object is not perfectly symmetrical. If that's your case, I'm not sure what I would do. I mean, it just makes no sense to have this object not be symmetrical. One, you're making your life really hard, and two, there's no advantage of having an advantage. I mean, having an object built this way. So honestly, what I would do is cut it in half, make it symmetrical. Now I know initially this wasn't supposed to be designed that way, and I couldn't care less. Like, this is just a complete waste of my time. There's just no advantage to building an object this way. So I'm just going to delete this, and I'm going to cut this surface in half. So now we're left with these surfaces here. This is pretty easy to fix. The way we're going to do this is we're going to use fillet surface, and let's see. This is too large, and so that's literally what I would do. Use fillet surface because we don't want the edges to match, and we don't want the transitional surface here to have any effect on these other surfaces. Now there's other ways to do it, but this is the quick and easy way. So I would suggest you just build that this way. Yeah. Let's go back and make it a little smaller. We'll do 0.7, and I'm just trying to make this fillet kind of match what we have here. So it looks like 0.75 for this one. It looks like that will do the job. 0.75. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Just keep on doing that on all of your edges. And then for the gap in between here, we'll just create a gap using the curve we had created before. So we're almost done here. We just have to do 2 more. Let's see, 0.4. That's not good. Okay, so if this happens to you, you can go in here, and from the side view, you can just extend 2 lines, or I should say create 2 lines. We're not extending anything here. Just create this type of curves, and these are my construction curves from the side view. And if I go in and if I trim these surfaces, I guess I can just do a selection like this. So it's going to trim everything, and it's going to create the gap that we need in order to create this transitional surface. So that's a quick and easy way to kind of create a nice gap, and I guess I could have done that on this surface as well, but this does the job for us, because since there is going to be a gap, I think this will work really well. So let's move forward and let's do a blend surface. Oh, blend curve. I always do that. I just type in blend and I don't pay attention. There's 2 blends. There's blend curve and blend surface. We want the blend surface. Now you'll notice I'm only building the top half, and that's to speed up the process. There's no reason for me to build this twice. The object is symmetrical in this case. I changed it specifically to make my life easier. There's no reason to spend more time doing something more complicated. I mean, this is complicated enough, and yeah, it's irrational, right? In the real world, if someone is paying you to do this, he's not going to pay you more because you spent more time. If anything, he's going to fire you because it took you too much time to build this. He or she, whoever you work with. So anyway, just build it in the most efficient way possible. Okay, let's select everything we want. I was hiding this curve, so I just used the show command and hide command. Now I'm going to use this one, which hides anything that is not selected. And again, I've mentioned that before, it's a very efficient way to visualize the model without worrying about everything else. And this makes it very easy for me to select only the 2 curves, and then I can hide them if they get in the way. So I would really suggest that you do that, or do this to create a construction layer that's very efficient as well. So selecting these 2 curves, now I can trim from the top. And this is it. Yeah. So now we have a nice gap. We have fillet surfaces, or actually they're not fillets, they are transitional surfaces. I'm mostly using blend surfaces. We don't need this anymore. This was here just to create this gap we just made. And for the rest of the surfaces, it's going to be very easy, right? We can use a blend surface again. And the rule of thumbs for something like this, and you've seen me do it here, the easiest way to create a bunch of transitional surfaces at once is, instead of focusing on the easier part, which would be up here, focus on the ball corner. And if you can get your ball corner to look the way you want it to, then whatever goes in between your corner transitional surfaces is going to be very easy to build. So here there's this edge here which is not lining up properly. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It seems like there's no option here to fix it. So all I would do is create a blend curve instead. I think the reason why this is happening is because this is a trimmed edge, so it's having a difficult time lining up the surface to this edge. And that's fine, we can just build this and then make a sweep, and make a sweep with 2 surfaces, 2 edges. And this is it. So now you can select everything from the top side and mirror it from the right view or from the front view to the bottom side. And if we join everything, and we can also cap, CAP is going to close off the back and gives us this super nice object with a bunch of clean transitional surfaces. So yeah, it is time consuming, but you do get some really good results and it really is worth it. Now if I go under analyze, this is going to give you a better idea of all the work that went into it and the reason for why you want to do that, why you want to spend the time. As you can see, we're getting some really nice results, really nice reflections. You know, we have no more soft edges, and it's just blending very, very nicely from this sharp transitional surface to something really, really smooth up here. It's just a very nice surface. So it's really worth investing the time and figuring out this simple workflow to create, basically to resolve these fillets. Yeah, so I hope you learned a lot, and I hope this was useful to you.